Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. What's up, everybody? Good morning and a very happy Thursday to all of you. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. Whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. You've got your smart devices. The video stream is also up and rolling. All the usual suspects and such. If you are getting ready to hit the roads and such, be careful. I know some of the roads, some people, I was reading some stuff online, 53 from Bloomer and that, slip spots and all that, but we do have a lot of closings and delays. Luckily, Eau Claire School District is on spring break this week, but a lot of other local schools and such. So if you want to check out the latest school closings and delays, brought to you by Service Master and Hovland's. You can check them out at WEAU 13 News for the latest school closings and delays. So be careful if you do have to step out there. I know my driveway was fine at like 3-something this morning, but the wooden deck, not so great. So if you got dogs or something like that got to go do their business this morning and you got a wooden deck, watch out for them. They may do some skating and some dancing out there and such. So all right, what do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Brew Crew with another series win, so they begin their season 5-1. Jacob Mizorowski getting a no decision yesterday, but I think we could all say he pitched pretty darn well. Going nuts. 6 strong innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. Bryce Terang picking up his first home run of the season. I mean, it was kind of a pitching duel for most of the game here, heading into the bottom of the 8th. It was tied at 2 apiece, and then that's when the Brewers offense put up that crooked number yet again, 6 in the bottom of the 8th. Batting around there. So Brewers bats coming alive again. Kind of a theme so far in the early portions of this season, putting up some runs later on in the game. So, and again, another game where the Brewers had to come from behind after dropping 2-0 in the top of the third. They tied it up right away, but putting up that crooked number later on to propel them to victory. So 8 total hits for the Crew yesterday with those 8 runs. So now they head off on the road. They have the off day today before continuing their American League tour, where they'll be taking on the Kansas City Royals starting tomorrow. So we are 1 week in to this regular season here for the Brew Crew. Let's do some first week impressions, first week overreactions, however you want to phrase it. Let's hear from you. What's your first week impressions surrounding the Brewers, or maybe even individual players with the Brewers? What do you got? All right, let us know. We got that Shoe Doctors bullpen line up and rolling here this morning, 715-830-1912. Also, the Section 105 video chat is also up and rolling as well. So we'll talk plenty of baseball, plenty of Brewers coming your way this morning. Little hoops. Bucks did fall last night to the Houston Rockets, which probably for a lot of people, no surprise. But, hey, maybe it was, you're looking at the final score and such, maybe not as bad as some people thought it would be in that. But 119-113 victory for the Houston Rockets last night. So we just got 6 more of these to go here, Bucks fans, and then that'll be the end of the regular season. But Jiang with 36 points for the Bucks. You got Cormac Ryan coming off the bench, playing 38 minutes and putting up 25 points. So it was a short roster. No Kyle Kuzma, no Miles Turner, no Bobby Portis, obviously no Giannis or even Thanasis and such. So it was a short bench, short roster last night for that game. But we'll throw a little hoops chat in here as we get set also for the Final Four this weekend. So got that on the docket. It is a takeover Thursday, so this is where you could act like the producer and such. What are some of the topics that you would like to see us discuss, or if you have a topic in mind that you would like to throw out for the rest of our armchair MVPs out there? Let us know. We're an open book here. All right, so we'll get to that. It is also a Enough is Enough Thursday. What is the sports narrative? What is the sports story or take that you've been seeing out there quite a bit in the sports world that you're just like, man, enough is enough with that? It is also a tailgate outdoors Thursday. So with the youth turkey season popping up this weekend, kind of the kickoff for the rest of us, maybe that are not going out there for the youth, but spring turkey season just days away. If you got any questions, hey, maybe just a month away from opening fishing and such. So if you have any questions for our outdoor warden buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, let us know. All right, send them on over, and we will get those to Jake. We'll continue a little Packers draft countdown too, taking a look at a couple of prospects that could be targets in that day 2 area, rounds 2 and 3. So we'll continue that. We've been looking at a couple different prospects and such. So we'll continue that. Obviously, with Green Bay not having that first round pick, we're focusing on rounds 2 and 3. So we'll take a look at a couple more picks, or a couple more prospects, if you will, a little bit later on for our football chat this morning. So that's your game plan here for us this morning. So a little bit of everything. We got some Brewers baseball to hit up. We've got some little bit of hoops. We'll talk a little Packers as we are inching closer and closer to the NFL draft. In fact, it is 3 weeks from today. The first round of the NFL draft will kick off. Obviously, not going to be an eventful one for Green Bay unless they decide to trade up into the first round. But nonetheless, the NFL draft kicks off 3 weeks from today. So that's coming up right around the corner. Let's lead things off here this morning, talking some baseball, talking some Brewers. With 1 week in to this season, let's do some first impressions, first week impressions, maybe a little overreaction, 1 week overreaction talk. Have some fun with it, though. But Brew Crew, 5-1 to begin the season. What's impressed you the most? What has stood out to you the most within just 1 week? We know it's a small sample size, but this is what we got to work with here for just 6 games. So let's take our first break, and then coming up in just a couple minutes, we'll talk some baseball to warm you up on this rainy, freezing, wet Thursday morning. We'll be right back after these quick words. As the fields come back to life, it's time for spring sports here in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're stepping up to the plate or hitting the track or maybe getting back on the field, make sure that your body is ready to perform. At Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, their team specializes in keeping athletes of all ages healthy, strong, and in the game. From injury prevention to expert care and recovery, they've got you covered every single step of the season. Don't let pain keep you on the sidelines. Get back into the game with confidence. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, helping you move better, play stronger, and stay in the game. We've got intern Carter made it in this morning as well with the roads. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah? What's your first impression of this Brewer season so far? 5-1 start to begin. Clearly the best team in Major League Baseball right now. You know, a little fun overreaction and such. So, but not a whole lot to complain about, right? With the 5-1 start. No. Nearly a couple pitches away from being 6-0.
Yeah. They pretty much just are like last year. At some point, it's just like they're going to win the game even if they're losing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you look at kind of the trend so far, with them putting up their crooked number runs later on in the game and such. This is a team so far in these first 6 games that have played almost behind from, going back to opening day with Miz giving up a leadoff home run and such. So it's a team that has provided some clutch hitting and such. So I mean, there's a lot to like so far in the early goings with your first impressions with this Brewers team. And I know for part of our Takeover Thursday question, one of yours was regarding one Joey Ortiz. Is he back? After the beginning of the season. But I mean, you look at his numbers; he's hitting .333. He's got 3 RBIs and such. And actually, last time it was a few days ago, his strikeout numbers have actually gotten better because he was striking out a little bit there at the beginning. But that's kind of settled down here a little bit with Ortiz. But I mean, you got to tip the cap and give him credit to where credit's due. He is playing better offensively so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's hitting the ball much better than last year. And it seems like he's hitting it harder as well. Mm-hmm. Like last year, even his singles were like infield singles. But now he's definitely hitting the ball much better. And he's produced with bases loaded finally.
Yeah, no doubt. You look at a couple of guys, for me, Bryce Harang, one, looks like he's kind of picked up where he left off in the World Baseball Classic and such. Picked up his first home run yesterday. But, I mean, he's kind of been a doubles machine so far for the Brewers. And, again, he continues to do it against left-handed pitching, which is just, for me, is almost mind-boggling to think when he first started his career, he was awful against left-handed pitching to where they were benching him and putting somebody else in that lineup. And then Pat Murphy takes over and says, I'm going to give you a shot, to prove that you can do it. And, boy, that guy has ran with it. I mean, opposite field, his swing looks so – it reminds me of like a really good golf swing. You don't have to have a whole lot of speed behind it. It's nice and smooth, but man, Terang is just kind of picking up where he's left off so far from an offensive standpoint.
And he's got the power, which is most important for this Brewers team.
Right. So, but you got what else? We got Brandon Lockridge. I mean, he was off to a really good, spring start, and I think that's what propelled him to make this team. And in his opportunities, dude's still hitting 400. So, and he's come up with some clutch hits too. So, but Christian Yelich, man, I mean, you look at what he has done so far in 21 at-bats, obviously with that huge home run on Sunday, yesterday, with the big hit to break the tie. This is what we want to see from Yelly, right? Hitting 381 and OPS of a 959 and such. So, there's a lot to like so far from the offense. My guy, unfortunately, Salvatore Frelick's got to get it going here a little bit. I know he struggled in spring offensively and such, but, maybe we should give credit to one other guy too because he had a big hit. How about Garrett Mitchell's start to the season so far with his offensive numbers? 286, 769 OPS and such. So, but, I mean, that's a guy that we've been wondering what he's going to look like, right? And what he's going to be able to provide. Can he just stay healthy? I mean, would you take a 286 at 769 from Garrett Mitchell, who's hitting towards the bottom of the lineup right now? I'd take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for sure. I think he does have to cut down on the strikeouts a little bit. But, yeah, like you said, I'll take a 286 center fielder any day of the week. So.
Right. Exactly. So, but anybody else, maybe from a positive or negative, whether it's pitching or player-wise, that has kind of stood out to you? I mean, the bullpen overall, I think, has been really, really sad. Outside of Sproat's first start, not a whole lot to really nitpick, I don't think, with the pitching staff at this point.
No. I mean, they've been great out of the bullpen. Obviously, you're going to get your DL Halls, who's going to walk a couple batters. But he hasn't even a lot of runs. So, I mean, Zerpa looks untouchable right now. McGill did allow that run in the ninth that ended up costing us, but he's kind of hit or miss to me. Like, if he's on, he's really hard to hit. Yeah. And then if he's off, he's going to get hit around.
Right. Yeah, and we haven't really, I don't think, seen, we saw McGill, pick up one save and such, but really the Brewers haven't been in too many save opportunities at this point. So I know some of that talk was, is it going to be Uribe that's going to be the closer? Is it going to be McGill as the closer? And honestly, I don't know if we still know that answer because they haven't been in a situation where they've had to go out there, and have a shutdown inning outside of, maybe a couple games and such. But I think one thing, too, is that they've got a little versatility where if they get into a situation where it's like a back-to-back, if you will, save situation. One night they could go Uribe, the other they could go Trevor McGill and such. And even Zerpa has been getting some late inning stuff over there too. So I think we're seeing so far the early makings of something that we've talked a lot about is the versatility of this pitching staff, especially when it comes to the bullpen. I mean, Aaron Ashby seems like the main go-to guy, and I think he's off to a good start so far this season. I mean, he's already pitched in 4 of the 6 games, for crying out loud. So, but and I think for the Miz, even though he didn't pick up a win yesterday, you're talking about 13 strikeouts. More than that, because he had 7 and then 10, so 17 strikeouts, right? I believe is what he's got for the season. So, but 1-0, and that's, I mean, I can't complain about what we've seen from him either. So.
Yeah, like you said last week, I mean, we get it to the 7th, and you're feeling pretty good with Zerpa, Uribe, and McGill, and that can pretty much go in any order at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But just got to get the lead going into the 7th.
Right, yeah. And good to see, Miz kind of getting stretched out, I think, a little bit here. 18 strikeouts right there. So I think, I said 17, so 18 strikeouts for the Miz. And obviously he is the only one double digits, but Ashby's got 9. But we'll let guys get a couple more turns into the rotation here and such. And we're going to see Chad Patrick tomorrow as well. So, but it's going to make for some interesting conversations, like when a Quinn Priester comes back. And, I mean, nobody's really... at this point, again, I'm not ready to close the door on Brandon Sprout. I want to see him again, but really nobody's pitching at the level where we're like, man, we really need Quinn Priester to come back here and such, at least through the first 6 games of this season.
I think the stat that sticks out to me the most for Mizorowski is 11 innings, because I didn't see him going 6 yesterday, and he was able to get through 6. And if he's able to constantly get through 5 or 6 innings, that's going to be massive for this team this year.
Yeah.
Because last year he wasn't. So,
and I think it might be kind of a little bit of a minor thing, but you go back to yesterday's game, the long delay too after the home plate ump got just smoked on a foul tip, and you had Miz just kind of standing around and trying to stay loose. And part of me was a little bit worried, like, is that long delay going to like get into his head and such? And I thought he bounced back. Yeah, he gave up a hit and a walk, I think, but or a couple walks, but then bounced back after that and such. But always kind of curious how the pitchers react after a long delay in the middle, literally in the middle of an at bat too. So it's not like your offense is up there giving you a long delay. It's because I can't imagine what that felt like, taking a foul tip to the face mask like that. That's just And then you got to get a different home plate ump, and he's. I would be a little nervous, right, to go behind the dish there. You got Miz, and you just, replace a guy who, I don't know if he ended up having a concussion or not, but I was kind of curious if the Miz kid would, maybe get a little too much in his head and such, and it kind of, I don't want to say fall off the rails, but maybe kind of throw him into a little bit of a, out of rhythm, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So.
I think last year it would have definitely, but I think this year he's almost matured. I mean, his fastball is much slower, and by much slower I mean 99.
Yeah.
But he's spotting it more, and so he's not throwing 104 down the middle. He's painting the corner with 99, and I think he's starting to understand that's better.
Yeah.
People can't hit 99 outside, so I think he's matured in that aspect.
I think that's a good word to describe it, mature, and that. And I think a lot of it does help with Contreras behind the plate. Yeah. We've been hearing a lot in the last week about these young pitchers talking about what it means to have Contreras. I mean, he's kind of like a tough love, with what we've been hearing and such, and obviously with the pitching staff of like Chris Hook and Jim Henderson too. So, but. No, I mean, what about the rest of you? What are some of your first impressions of this 5-1 starts for the Brew Crew? Let us know. All right, we got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with plenty more baseball talk after these quick words. Stocking up for spring? Well, hey, Hy-Vee at Eau Claire has everything you need to fill your pantry, to pack up your freezer, and to get ready for, well, when the weather does get nicer, meals outside. From fresh cuts of meat and easy grill-ready favorites to frozen essentials, snacks, and quick weeknight dinners, Hy-Vee makes it simple to be prepared for whatever the season brings. Planning a backyard cookout? Hey, they've got the buns, the sides, and the flavors to make it easy. So stop on in today and stock up and save time and enjoy more moments around the table. Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, where there is a helpful smile in every aisle. MLB.com has each team's biggest takeaway from the season's first week. What do they have to say for the Brew Crew? Well, they say so many of the good ingredients from last season are back. The Brewers didn't have a lot of position player turnover from last season, so maybe it's not surprising to see them playing such a familiar brand of offense. They lead the majors in stolen bases through the opening week by a wide margin, and that includes going 7 for 7 in Game 2 against the White Sox. After leading the NL in on-base percentage last year, they lead the majors so far this year. They're also tied for the Major League Baseball lead in runs scored. Though those elements all work together, of course, part of the Brewers' plan to, quote, drag opposing pitchers at every opportunity. So, yeah, I mean, you look at, they're stealing a bunch of bases. How about, by the way, too, the art of the perfect bunt. I don't know if anybody saw that yesterday, but Christian Yelich's bunt down the third base line. It was a work of art. It was beauty. I mean, just painting that line and staying there. So, I mean, you have your power guy willing to lay down a bunt, and it worked out perfectly. So I don't know. It's the little things like that when it comes to this offense that is really kind of standing out and such. It feels like different guys have been able to do different things and such. And then I mean, for crying out loud, Bowers. I thought it was kind of funny the one night. The ump, who actually was the ump that got dinged in the face mask yesterday, but said he did touch first. And what did he do yesterday? Forgot to touch seconds on Garrett Mitchell's double, so that's why he had to go back and touch it. And he was actually able to be safe at third for some unknown reason how that was able to happen and such. But it just feels like there's a lot of things working out right now for this. For this Brewers team, offensively and on the pitching side too.
They're doing the things that they did last year. I mean, I think Bryce Turang talked about it after last night. They just create havoc. And,
yeah.
I mean, Bryce Turang laid down a bunt in the 8th inning as well, and it wasn't as good as Yelich's, but the third baseman made an error. Yeah. So all of a sudden you got two guys on now. So they do the little things right. They run the bases well, and they just, I mean, you can't keep track of where they are. So
yeah. Yeah, they're putting pressure on that defense and such, and I think I think it matches up in the Brewers' favor for a lot of teams. I mean, we saw was it Crawford, the shortstop or third base for the Rays, struggling with kind of. I mean, he would field the ball, but then his throws were completely off because of the speed of the Brewers, going down that first baseline. And, putting the pressure again on the defense to make the play. And maybe for a lot of other players, they're able to make that throw and such. But, Brew Crew just continued to pile on that pressure. And the mindset of, even getting late in these games when it's tied or they're behind, they don't really flinch. It almost feels like they feed off that, essentially. So
I think one difference about just the Brewers is, if you, let's say, watch the Mets play, Juan Soto hits a ground ball to third, he jogs.
Yeah.
Bryce Turang hits a ground ball to third, he's sprinting up that line because he knows he can get there.
Yeah.
And I think, like Caminero last night, I think he just was like, well, he may not be running hard, so I got time. Then all of a sudden, Bryce Turang's already there.
Yeah.
So just by doing that, it puts pressures on teams because they have to make a perfect throw and field it perfectly just to get an out.
Right. Yeah. Did I say Crawford? I meant Caminero. Thanks. That's why you're the intern, correcting me over there. So, but you're right. So, there's again not really a whole lot to complain about for the first 6 games. If you can find something to complain about, then I think you're kind of grasping at straws here when it comes to the Crew. So there really isn't anything to have beef with at this point. So, unless you got something, you can let us know. But if you had to narrow it down to just one thing that has maybe impressed you the most or been a nice, pleasant surprise for you, what has it been? Is it Joey Ortiz? Is it the pitching staff? Is it the bullpen? Is it maybe you're just, okay, here's one negative. Sal Frelick not hitting well right now. Yeah, I know. Believe me, my kid reminds me every single time he's up at this point. So he's got to get it into gear here too. So, but yeah, it's been fun baseball watching too. You know, watching these 6 games, watching this team go out there and do what they're doing. It's been a lot of fun to just kind of see them start. And you know, we know this. They're going to go through slumps, right? There's going to be weeks or there's going to be games. They're not going to win every single series. It'd be awesome if they could, but chances are it's not going to happen, and they're going to have rough times in that. And that's why I think when it comes to a baseball season, yeah, there's always another game right away, but enjoy the wins when they do happen, because we know there's going to be those slumps coming.
Well, and after an 0-4 start to last year, this is sure better than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I hope nobody says, well, they won 97 games going 0-4 last year. I mean, they're not going to do it. No, just stop. That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, it means they won 5 more games this year, right? 102.
Yeah, exactly. So, got a few people say it's the bullpen that has impressed them the most. Jake says I'd have to go with the offense so far, being extra aggressive on the base paths and hitting timely hits, getting the runs across as well. So, yeah, there's a lot to like so far from this team. I guess from a Major League Baseball standpoint, if we look at it from across the league, you know, maybe it's a team like Boston who's only won 1 game so far. Boston was a team that a lot of people picked to go far, or maybe go to the World Series this year. They're only 1-5 to begin the year. You've got, you know, Tigers 2-4. You've got the Mariners who are under 500. They're 3-4. How about the Marlins? Break them up. Everybody thought they'd be, you know, maybe the 4th best team in the NL East. They're 5-1. So, how about the Cubbies? NL Central, though, if you look at it, I guess from this division, you know, between them and the NL East, they look like in the first week the 2 closest divisions, because you've got Pittsburgh, the Reds, and the Cubs at 3-3. Cardinals are at 4-2. Brewers are at 5-1. Miami 5-1 in the NL East. Braves 3-2, and then Philly, Washington, the Mets are also 3-3. So Central and East off to competitive starts so far. Maybe the best way to put that. So if we could get the Cubs down a little bit further, though, I'd be okay with that. So Cleveland, do your job coming up here, starting tomorrow. So, but keep these coming. I keep them coming. What's impressed you the most? Your first week impressions from the Brew Crew. Joe, definitely sounds better. Brandon says good morning to the rest of us in the section 105. So that chat room's up and rolling here this morning. But going back to last night's game, or yesterday afternoon's game, just really quick before we have to take our final break for the first hour here. We've seen now 2 starts from Jacob Mizorowski, and I know we've talked a little bit about the Miz kid and such, but you look at what he has been able to do in his first 2 starts, and that's something that I was talking a little bit about yesterday with, you know, leading into the start. We know he's got all the talent in the world. We know he could potentially be like a Cy Young caliber pitcher in that, and he had a good opening day start. The main thing that I just want to see is the consistency factor for Miz. And I know it's only 2 starts, right? It's only just 2 games. And yes, he's going to have a game, or maybe probably even a couple games where he's going to be down. But I think that's the biggest thing left for Mizorowski, is to show that consistency. You know, I think we're all hoping that he could develop into the ace of the staff, because he has the talent to do so. And when you think about an ace of the staff, we think about, okay, when it's that guy's turn in the rotation, you're feeling confident you're going to come away with a win. You know, whenever it's his turn, you're feeling like, okay, that's a win for us. I don't know if I'd put Mizorowski at that level yet, and I think it's just more so I want to see it on a consistent basis from him so far.
Yeah, it'd also be cool if he could take the ball every 5 days, kind of like Peralta. Mm-hmm. Obviously, pitchers get injured a lot, and with a guy that throws as hard as he does, he's likely to get injured at some point in his career. I mean, we saw he had an IL stint last year, but like you said, the consistency to make the starts for me is big, because he is our best pitcher right now. And so, and crazily, he's kind of got the second most experience also. So to be able to take the ball every 5 days is going to be big for this Brewers roster.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we got to take another break, and we'll start to wrap up the first hour. All right, get your thoughts on in with the Brew Crew first week impressions. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Sometimes accidents happen, but getting your vehicle back to normal doesn't have to be that stressful. At Superior Auto Body, they specialize in getting your vehicle looking right again after dents, dings, or collisions. And the best part, they handle the insurance process for you, working directly with your provider to make things simple and hassle-free. No runaround, no confusion, just quality of work and a team that's got your back every step of the way. Get your vehicle back on the road with confidence. Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, where the job gets done right. Excuse me. We talk about the Brewers' offense putting pressure on the opposing defense. How about this little fun nugget from our friend Hunter Baumgart? The Brewers haven't committed a single error through their first 6 games of the season. That is a franchise record. The previous record was 5 games to start a season in the year of 2000. So we talk about, again, the offense putting the pressure on. We know the Brewers pride themselves on also played some really good defense themselves. And while they have played some really good defense, they haven't shot themselves in the foot. They haven't, given an extra at bat or anything like that. And when you look at the lineup and such, and I mean, especially when you have Blake Perkins playing left field, who is a really good defensive outfielder, when you got him in left, you probably got a really good outfield with Garrett Mitchell or even Lockridge with his speed. Sal Frelick, we know what he does. I mean, the catch that he made the other night and such. We know Joey Ortiz is fantastic. We know Bryce Terang is fantastic. Whether it's been Hamilton or Luis playing over at third, that's just been, lights out over there too. So I think, of course, Contreras back there. I mean, it's been good on a lot of aspects. And Pat Murphy said this after the game yesterday too, what he liked about his team or what his team maybe has learned over the first 6 games. He said, I like the education they're getting of if you put the ball on the ground sometimes and bunt or you're efficient stealing bases, it could cause some havoc. So I'm curious to see how this trend continues. I think they want to continue to do this, obviously, throughout this long season. But how do teams approach that then when they play the Brewers? It's an interesting thing because you only have like 3 games, 4 games and such. It's not like the NFL where you get a week to prepare for an opponent and you game plan, right? I mean, baseball is like quick. And I'm just kind of curious to see how other teams prepare to go up against a Brewers team that likes to create havoc so far.
Well, and it's not like they bunt every play. I mean,
right.
What Garrett Mitchell, I think it was 112 off the bat, double down the line.
Yeah.
So they can put one perfectly down the third baseline on the chalk like Yelich did.
Yep.
But they can also hit it 112. So that range is so hard because you can't play in because you'll get killed, and you can't play back because they'll just bunt. So it's one of the hardest offenses to stop. And we talk about power, and they may need it in the postseason, but regular season, it doesn't seem to be mattering that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, not often do you see, your third or fourth hitter like Yelich on any team that is going to go lead off the inning with a bunt right away, too, and catching people by surprise like that. I mean, it was just the absolute, if any coach wants to teach bunting, look at that one, because that was like chef's kiss. It was just so perfect. Me and Hudson were like, just stay. Like it was great. And then the slow, it was perfect. It was awesome. So not often do you get excited about a bunt, but it was just like, yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. You talk about power and such. And right now, obviously, the Brewers are not the Angels or even the Pirates who lead the league in 10, but Brewers have 8. So they're top 5 right now in home runs when you look at it. So Houston has 9, Texas has 9, White Sox, Brewers, Mariners, Blue Jays next up with 8. So the thing is, I think with the Brewers, it's spread out. You got Bowers with 2. You got Gary Sanchez with 2. Yelly's got 1. Terang's got 1. Frelick's got 1. Andrew Vaughn doesn't have one. Who else has one? Contreras has the one on there too. So, it's spread out a little bit here. I don't think they'll finish top 5, but I wouldn't mind it if they finish top 5 in home runs and such. So, but your number one team in baseball for RBIs is the Milwaukee Brewers, the only team with over 40. They have 43. And you want to talk about being really patient at the plate? Third, and this is all of Major League Baseball. This isn't just National League. Third in walks, too. So, I mean, looking at the strikeout numbers, and they're not striking out a lot. They're 23rd in strikeouts. I think Garrett Mitchell leads the team with 7 at this point. So, I mean, you look at, Angels have the most home runs and such, but they also have 80 strikeouts. That is the league leader. So kind of put that in perspective where the Brewers are at 47. The team that has struck out the least is Kansas City, which is the team that the Brewers are going to be coming up here this weekend. So, but, I mean, they're patient. They're not striking out a lot. They're stealing bases. The next closest is the Rockies at 10. I mean, there's just, a lot to like right now with this Brewers team, specifically in the offense. They're third in OPS in all of Major League Baseball. They're third in slugging percentage, for crying out loud. So, pitching-wise, they're third in total strikeouts. The only 2 teams ahead of them are Houston and Toronto. Opponent's batting average, they're 5th, just giving up a 200 average. What else do we, in terms of giving up home runs, they are third, so they have given up the home run ball quite a bit, or tied for second, excuse me. So they've got 11. The only other team with the most is the Astros at 12. So, but in terms of giving up hits, they're 26th, so only 39. But at least those home runs have usually been like solo shots.
Well, yeah, because they're in earned runs, they're 25th.
Right.
So
so it's been a lot of solo shots with that, which that's if you got to give them a home run, I'm fine with that. So, but league leaders in a lot of this stuff here, and it's cool to see. I know it's not going to probably last. The odds will probably kind of even out, but man, it's looking at walks issued here. So they're about middle of the pack. They're 21 in terms of middle of the pack, because they're tied for 14th. The league leader is the Angels at 39. Marlins have only issued 9 walks so far. That's probably why they're a big reason why they're 5-1 to begin the season. Brewers third and tied for third in strikeouts too. So, all right, we've got a few minutes left to the top. But what have been your first week impressions? What has kind of stood out to you? Have a little fun on some Overreaction Monday with us this morning. All right, so hit us up. Mark says that outfield Murph put out there yesterday, good luck trying to hit one into the cap on those. Exactly. It's like you have Perkins playing left, for crying out loud, Frelick and Mitchell and et cetera. Yeah, you ain't getting anything by those guys. I mean, I saw that. I'm like, there's nothing hitting the gaps. There's just no. Good luck. You'd have to really tattoo something and hit it off the wall or something. But that's the flexibility they have now too. So
just wait till Cheerio gets back.
Well, it's the thing too, and it sounds like he might be back sooner rather than later. They're talking about middle April. So, and that's the thing too. You look at these offensive numbers, they're doing it without Jackson Cheerio. They're doing it without Andrew Vaughn. They've had to kind of fill in the gaps here a little bit. Obviously, Bowers has been picking up where he left off in spring, but you're talking about not doing it with Cheerio, who I think if you polled Brewers fans, they thought he might be their best offensive player. So you would think by just adding him in there, maybe the offense does continue with what they've been doing so far. I don't know, but it's been impressive. And I don't care if it's the White Sox or the Tampa Bay Rays. The Brewers are doing what you're supposed to do, taking care of business, right? Winning games that you're supposed to win, because what is something that pops up every year? They play down to their competition. Brewers have been taking care of business so far this year. So I don't care the quality of the opponent. They've been winning games, and that's the only thing that matters. And they've been winning with some good numbers, too. So, that Yankees ERA, holy moly, 1.01. Yikes. Brewers 2.83. Braves, that makes sense. Mets, okay. Dodgers, and then Miami. right. We're going to switch gears coming up in the next hour. We'll chat a little draft since we're 3 weeks away from that. Kind of continue to look at a couple prospects for the green and gold. That could be out there for day 2. But continue to send us your Brewers thoughts. Don't forget it is also a Takeover Thursday. So if you have a topic that you'd like to throw out for discussion, let us know. All right, send it on over. So we'll get to that. We got a little enough is enough. What's the sports narrative? What's the sports take? What's the sports thoughts that is kind of out there where you're just like, enough is enough with this? So we'll get to those throughout the rest of this morning. And if you have any hunting or fishing related questions, don't forget Jake Boakes will be joining us here at 8:30. So if you have any questions maybe for the upcoming spring turkey season or next month's fishing opener, please send those out over right now so we can get those on over to Jacob. So, but yeah, we got that. We'll throw a little hoops chat in there too, even though just 6 games left. But we got some Final Four stuff to talk about, and as we get set for that coming up this weekend. So, yeah, not a whole lot to talk about with the Bucks at this point. So, well, I don't think anybody really cares about the Bucks at this point. I 6 games left to go. I don't think we're going to see Giannis suit up again. So I think that ship has sailed at this point. So you haven't really had anybody talking about it. I think it's just kind of like nobody cares anymore.
I think Doc was like, he's actually hurt, and everyone's like, oh wait,
yeah. So, but all right, shot clock's gonna cut me off. So we'll take a quick break. We got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off the second hour coming up after these quick words.